Look at this. Two feuding brothers. Reminds me of the good old days, Cain and Abel. What a pair. You think those blessed bullets are gonna do me any harm?
Pretty sure they'll send you back to hell.
I think you're forgetting one teensy-weensy little thing. I own hell.
It's the Esoteric Eric Roberts podcast in the year 2015 to talk about a film called Six Gun Savior.
This says 2016.
Yeah, there was some discrepancy there about that. Yeah, I mean, IMDb says 2016. Somewhere I had seen it was 2015. So we can I guess we'll go with IMDb and say 2016. I don't remember where my other source came from. Perhaps Letterboxd.
Well, let's see. If we go to external reviews, we can at least know when this played somewhere at the Crest Theater in Westwood, I believe.
I have a feeling if we called director Kirk Murray right now, he would answer his phone and answer this question for us.
It was, in fact, it premiered August 7th, 2015, or perhaps August 6th or 5th or something. But
okay, yeah. It won some awards.
It sure did.
Awards.
Mostly Best Supporting Actor, or Actress, rather, for Lorraine Ziff.
What kind of festival was it?
I don't know.
The Six Gun Savior Festival?
It was, let's see. Well, like what's funny is that Lorraine Ziff, she's the lady that plays Urethra.
Yeah,
and
Urethra.
I thought she was probably the worst actor in the movie, other than maybe the main guy.
Well, this is kind of a passion project for her.
Yeah, so she probably went to all of these festivals and really engaged people about the movie and stuff, and they remembered her and liked her or something. She won the jury award at the Hoboken International Film Festival.
Whoa. You ever been to Hoboken?
No, I've never been to New Jersey.
You ever hear that song Night Falls on Hoboken by Yo La Tengo?
I don't think so. Maybe so.
So Eric Roberts has the top billing in this film.
And all of their other wins appear to be from the Miami International Sci-Fi Film Festival.
Any awards for Eric Roberts?
No, they won Best Picture.
Yeah.
They won Best Supporting Actress for Lorraine Ziff once again, and Best Supernatural Film.
Well, Eric Roberts gets
some tough competition that year at Miami.
He gets top billing as the devil. He plays the devil in this.
Give us a second, will you, Toots?
Won't let him kill Dylan.
Oh, always so dramatic. He gets his revenge on Dylan, and I get his soul for eternity. Seems like a fair trade to me.
There's nothing fair about the deals you make.
I take personal offense to that. I saved your life. I gave you a second chance.
Second chance? At what? I'm your own private harlot, and Cody becomes more like you every time I see him.
Well, nothing's perfect. Hate to cut the small talk, but we have business to attend to. When you finally catch up to Dylan, you'll find a woman named Zathira. She is special, so special. Do not kill her.
Yes, he's a very Mephistopheles, this devil in this, making deals and having limitations to his powers and talking a lot to mankind. It's
getting involved in Faustian bargains.
Yeah, it's a very Fausty deal here.
We also have Martin Cove in this film as the mentor. Martin Cove, who you would probably know as the bad sensei from the Karate Kid movies.
Yeah, who's probably riding higher now because of that Cobra Kai show.
Yeah, which probably came out maybe a year or so after Six Gun Savior.
And he was briefly, maybe not even in the final cut, but he was briefly in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he's been plugging along with a very Eric Roberts-y style career of just like tons of movies you've never heard of over the years. In fact, we should start a new podcast called Martin Cove Bay or Martin Cove Island.
The Martin Cove.
No, we should have another name after Cove, like another part of it. Like he's okay, like it should be Cove, but it's not.
The main actor in this movie, his name is Kaleo Griffith.
And he had quite a few. He's had kind of a career before this, right? He had been in a lot of stuff.
He has a sizable filmography, 8 credits I'm looking at right here.
Oh wait, never mind. It's not the guy I was thinking of. I think it may be the bad guy.
Yeah, not enough credits for us to embark on a Kaleo diet podcast.
No, this was his last role.
Yeah. So that was
He never worked again.
damn 7 years ago, probably for him. Wonder what happened. Is he still living? Maybe his bargain.
Good question.
Maybe he made a bargain of some sort, Roy, and the devil came to collect.
Maybe so.
So Six Gun Savior, plot keywords, psychotronic film. Have you ever heard of this term before?
No, I never have.
Well, I did a little research on this. It says Psychotronic Video was a film magazine founded by publisher-editor Michael J. Weldon in 1980, covering what he dubbed psychotronic movies, which he defined as the ones traditionally ignored or ridiculed by mainstream critics at the time of their release. Horror, exploitation, action, science fiction, and movies that used to play in drive-ins or inner-city grindhouses. So cult films, right?
Yeah, or like, I guess, genre films.
Genre films, cult films. When did they start calling them cult films? 70s?
Well, couldn't a cult film be any movie that gets a cult following?
True. Yeah. I mean, you can have
could
a
be
cult,
like
cult comedies.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely a psychotronic kind of film. It mixes a lot
Sure
of things.
is. Yeah, it sure is.
It's most certainly a Western.
And supernatural film.
It's a supernatural Western. And we were talking about, well, the last one that we reviewed was a supernatural Western.
Yeah, this really was a good choice. Well, I mean, as far as it could be good, anything after Purgatory, because they're going to a town called Purgatory at times in this movie. So it's kind of a sequel.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun connections. So in the time, but since we've talked about the last film, I've watched a few Westerns.
What did you see?
I saw that High Plains Drifter from 1973, which is maybe the best supernatural Western.
Was it better than Ravenous?
Well, I don't remember Ravenous.
Ravenous is pretty good.
I thought I remember Ravenous having cannibals, but I don't remember if any of that had any kind of supernatural.
Yeah, eating the human flesh gave you superpowers.
Okay, maybe I should revisit Ravenous.
I recommend it.
Would you rate it a
bird picture?
Would you rate it above High Plains Drifter?
Hard to say. Maybe so.
Damn. I also watched just a straight Western.
What did you watch?
I watched The Outlaw Josie Wells.
Oh, that was on TV when I was working. I watched some of that movie myself.
Yeah. I prefer High Plains Drifter, but both are fair movies.
Yeah, I liked Josie Wells too.
I got to give the edge to High Plains Drifter because there's a smaller stature man in High Plains Drifter.
A little person.
Who I had heard was in The Wizard of Oz. He would have been at the right age. I can't remember who plays Mordecai. But yeah.
Did you ever watch Tiptoes with Matthew McConaughey and Gary Oldman?
No, I've heard about this film. Have we talked about it on this program?
I don't know. Gary Oldman and Matthew McConaughey are twin brothers, and Gary Oldman's a little person.
How do they do that?
I think they used a lot of very Tim Conway-ish special effects of like having
knees
him stand
shoes.
behind. Yeah, knees on shoes. Forced perspective, having him behind things.
Damn.
Crouched down behind things. Yeah, it was all kind of. I don't think there was any Lieutenant Dan action going on or Hobbit action.
Well, what can you tell us about Kirk Murray? Did you do any research on the writer director?
I did none at all.
He's done a lot of television work.
Oh yeah, I did see that he'd done a lot of like $1 million listing style shows.
Yeah. I think he's primarily an editor, but here's he's still working.
He's got 12 directing credits.
As of 2022, he's still at it. Yeah, he's done quite a few short films. He's done some TV, a documentary called A Mediocre Documentary with Tom and Dan from 2018. Where did you watch Six Gun Savior?
I watched it on Tubi.
I did as well. But it's also on Crackle.
Yeah, which just depends on how many ads and stuff you want to check out or what you're running. They're both free. Tubi, did you get a lot of that Venus pubic hair commercial?
I don't remember that one.
Okay, you probably remember it. It's like some cartoon where a woman raps about being proud of saying pubic hair a lot.
No memory of that.
And talks about her bush a lot.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. We've come a long way as a society.
Yeah. Yes, we have. Well, back to the Mordecai thing because that's the most important thing we're talking about today. That actor's name was Billy Curtis.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
He was in a film called The Terror of Tiny Town that features the M word on the poster that I'm looking at right here.
Nice.
I'm trying to trace back to see if he was in fact in The Wizard of Oz.
I've been watching a lot of movies because, as all of our listeners probably know, I've been struggling with the virus.
Yeah, how's that going?
I mean, HIV isn't what it used to be. And I watched China 9, Liberty 37, a Western starring Warren Oates, a spaghetti Western made by Monty Hellman.
Never heard of it.
Oh man, it was pretty crazy. Has tons of nudity. It's with that lady who's always naked in old movies, Jenny Aguilar.
Mhm.
She's also a good actor.
Yeah, she was in she was in Walkabout, right?
Yeah, American Werewolf in London
Oh yeah.
and Equus. Have you seen Equus?
No, is that a horse film?
Yeah, it's a movie about having sex with horses.
Okay, yeah. I remember seeing an ad on what's it called? Tubi, something about copulating with horses. I don't remember what the product was.
Being proud of it.
Hey, I'm seeing here that Billy Curtis, in fact, did play a munchkin on The Wizard of Oz in 1930.
I thought he was the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, I was going to say he played the wizard. Died in 1988.
Nice.
Yeah.
What, Wizard of Oz is what, from like 39 or 40?
39, the
39.
year that all the big ones came out, right?
Yeah, isn't Wizard of Oz directed by Victor Fleming,
Yes.
who also, I think in 39 or 38 or 40, one of those right in there, he also directed Gone with the Wind.
He was now I forget the story. There were other directors on Gone with the Wind. Was he the first?
Everybody got fired except for him, I think. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so he was the survivor.
I think so.
He was the last one. Okay. Damn, big year for Victor Fleming.
I think that might also have happened with Wizard of Oz. I can't remember.
I think it was just him. I don't remember there being other directors on that. Well, there's a lot of plot in Six Gun Savior.
Yeah, that's what I was just not going to talk on this episode and just sit back and let you run through all the plot.
Yeah, let me go through hell by myself.
Yes.
In fact, it says here, the log line for Six Gun Savior is the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
That's kind of true of this movie. Yeah.
I've never heard that expression before. It's a good log line for a movie.
This movie, I mean, it was filled with good intentions.
It was.
And it was terrible.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty angry at this film when I first watched it, but some time has passed because of your struggles with the virus and other issues. We've had to wait to record. And I'm glad because I can speak about it with a little
dispassionately.
A little, yeah. Yes, exactly. Well, the film is Western. And we have a visually stunning prologue, a prologue that rivals.
Oh, yeah.
That rivals what about the Lord of the Rings?
What about the
visual splendor?
Oh man! So with COVID, one thing it's really allows you to do aside from watch movies is it let me catch up on a bunch of fever dreams.
Yeah.
And I had a dream where Mickey Rourke confessed to me to being addicted to steroids.
Is that it? That's pretty short compared to your other dreams.
Yeah, I forgot I even had that dream. It was a note I made myself. Yesterday I had a dream, or today, I guess, like in the night, I had a dream that I was like a low level staffer on the David Letterman program, and he was like escaping from work or something, and some lady that worked for the show that was higher up than me and some other guy that was like on my level of employ, we went searching for him, and we spotted him at the mall in an arcade playing arcade games, and he had a wacky scruffy beard, but not like his real one that was real long. And then he left, and we left or something, and I went back by myself with a bunch of quarters just to play arcade games, and I found that he'd been playing this NBA game and had all the high scores on it, and I was gonna like play the game, but then I realized that I guess nobody had been playing the game except for him, because some of the lowest high scores had like no points. So if I played it at all, I was likely to get points and ruin David Letterman having all of the high scores. So what I did is I called the lady that I worked with, and she came and she like insisted on playing the game. I wanted to borrow a quarter from me, and I was really mad. And I was like, no, don't you think it's funnier for the show if we get a clip of how he has all the high scores than if one of them is just you because you scored 2 points or something? And she wouldn't agree with me. And then it turned out like she had played in the NBA, and I told her this story about how Klay Thompson dunked on her with a bunch of noodles, not a basketball, but it counted in the game. And then she told me a story about how she and her team scored on the Warriors after that. Her story wasn't near as good as the story of Klay Thompson dunking on her with noodles. Though it never occurred to me the real story was that she was a small woman who played in the NBA.
Klay Thompson?
No, the lady I was talking to in my dream. It's like she didn't look like the kind of lady, even if there was a lady in the NBA who would be in the NBA. She just looked like some brunette lady.
Leia Thompson.
No, Klay Thompson is a player for the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, I understand.
Who she was playing against. And then I woke up from that dream and was like, whoa. Also with COVID, it's given me time to work on the paternity suit I'm bringing against Brittany Griner when she gets back from Russia.
Who's that?
You haven't been following that?
No.
You should look up a picture of Brittany Griner real fast.
She's an American professional basketball player. Oh, yeah. I know a little bit about this. Something about weed.
Yeah.
Russia's drug laws. So what? Give me the rundown. She went to Russia?
Yeah.
And got busted?
Yeah, and they're just holding her.
Oh, okay. Maybe Pussy Riot will break her out. There's a movie for you, Roy. Pussy Riot busts out Brittany Griner from a Russian prison.
Griner.
Remember those guys?
No.
It was a girl band from Russia in the early 2010s.
There was a girl band. When you said guys, it threw me off.
Yeah. Well, their name was Pussy Riot, so they didn't like censorship. And it got them a lot of trouble in their home country. They were locked up, and I don't remember how it all ended.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Happened around the year 2012, probably 10 years ago.
Wow.
So, in the opening of Six Gun Savior.
It's an anniversary episode.
The opening of Six Gun Savior reminded me of like something you would see at a Western themed amusement park.
This whole movie had a very frontier city, silver dollar city, Western amusement park feel.
Totally. Something that you're waiting in line to get on some kind of a stagecoach roller coaster.
I guess I read they used sets from some old shows or something that are probably still out there. I think they might have made this all in Death Valley. We certainly see a lot of Death Valley and places that sound like they're around Death Valley names on the screen as they go different places in this movie.
In the prologue, we learn that Lucifer, desiring to grow his kingdom.
But first, you missed the awesome opening title cards for the production companies: Cohort Films, Ziff, Destiny Horizons.
Is that it? Just 3 of them? I don't remember.
Yeah, they were crazy. It was like one was a big gladiator or something. I thought we were in for the Cohort film. That for some reason I thought this was going to be a faith film. There's something about the wackiness of those opening production logos that made me think this was in fact going to be a faith film.
I kind of got the vibe it was going to be a white nationalist film with. I remember that cohort graphic looking crazy.
The cohort graphic was very crazy.
Something you would see, the guy that wrote Imperium. I forget that guy's name.
I don't know what's Imperium.
It's an old book by this guy who had views.
Oh yeah, I saw the movie Reds while I was working, and Jack Kehoe played another big loser in that. And nice. I watched the movie True Confessions, which is very unsatisfying, but Kenneth McMillan is really good in it. And,
that's the Grossbard film.
Yeah,
I've had that on the old queue for a while. I've been in possession of it.
It really sucks you in, or it sucks me in, and then at the end I'm just like, what? It feels like the movie should be 15 minutes longer or something. It's like the climax of the movie's coming and then it's just over. Then I saw that, what was the name of that guy that's the wind god in the Odyssey? I forgot his name again.
Yeah. Michael
Phillips. Yeah, John Michael Phillips or something. He was in an episode of season 1 of Star Trek where Kirk hooks up with a pubescent girl.
Remember when he froze in the sewer in Scrooged?
Yes.
That messed me up when I was 8 years old.
And I saw one of those low budget Robert Altman movies from the 80s. I watched a TV movie of the play The Kane Mutiny Court Martial, based on the novel The Kane Mutiny, which was by Herman Wouk.
Whoa.
That was also the movie The Kane Mutiny. But
yeah, I know you're a big fan of anything Kane Mutiny related.
I like the Kane Mutiny movie. That was what I'd seen in the past. But the Kane Mutiny Court Martial movie by Robert Altman of the play. It's a 1988 TV movie with a pretty crazy cast. It was really good. I really liked it.
Nice. Never seen it. My goal is to eventually watch all of the Altmans, and then I came close and then got sad and wanted to save some stuff. You know what I mean? Not completely run out.
This one was good. It had a really great performance by Eric Bogosian in the Jose Ferrer role from the old movie, and Jeff Daniels played Van Johnson, and in a crazy piece of casting, Brad Davis played Humphrey Bogart. And
Brad Davis, the voice of Chucky.
Yeah, Brad Davis from Querelle, or no, Fox and His Friends, right? No, I think he's from Querelle. I think Fox and His Friends stars Fassbender as the lead.
Oh yeah, I know this guy. He looks like somebody that old Fassbender would lust over.
Yeah, it was a very strange choice. He was the oddest choice in that play, the Bogart role. It's like they did a total 180 on actors there.
Chucky was voiced by Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif. Yeah, that's right. It just occurred to me as you were about to correct it. Yeah.
Well, Roy, Brad Dourif, Brittany Griner, Francis Parker Yockey, the author of Imperium. What do they all have in common?
None of them are in Six Gun Savior.
All of them are in Six Gun Savior. In fact, all of them are in the opening prologue.
There are some recognizable people in small roles in Six Gun Savior. We'll get to it. Okay, go for that prologue because it is pretty crazy.
Well, it explains that Lucifer is desiring to grow his kingdom, and so he offers deals to the dead who have not yet been judged. And what he does is he gives them back their bodies so that they can take vengeance on those who wronged them. Once they murder their victims, though, Roy, they are damned forever.
And does Martin Cove read this narration?
Oh, that's a good observation. It sounds like him.
I think he says that he's like a tracker for the devil, and that's kind of what we get told he is later.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe he says tracker like me. It's definitely not Kalio's voice.
No.
It is an older, more sensei sounding person.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Cove because I refused to go back and watch the beginning again once it occurred to me it probably was.
That seems like a pretty nice, concise prologue, right? Well, that's not all of it. We also learn in the prologue about an angel named Zathira, who is kind of like an angel of death of sorts. And there's also this outlaw named Grant Dillon who is trying to get Zathira's powers. So what he's doing is he's searching the West for artifacts that he can control Zathira with so that he can have dominion over death, Roy.
And so Grant Dillon is the one I was thinking of that has been in a lot. He's played by Blaine Gray, and Blaine Gray is not Zane Grey, the famous writer of Westerns. But yeah, Blaine Gray has had quite a long career.
He's a handsome guy. All these guys in the movie that are in the 20s, 30s range, they all kind of have an Abercrombie and Fitch model style to them.
Well, it reminds me of, I think a David Mamet essay on movie making where he says that the stuntmen look on set like you expect movie stars to act or look or something. And I think this might secretly be a movie that just stars tons of stuntmen.
Well, we know for sure that there's an actress who is more famous for being a stunt person that we're going to get to in a bit.
Lorraine Ziff?
No.
She plays Zathira.
Yeah, that's right. So we see Lorraine Ziff in the first few minutes of the film
in a wig.
The prologue continues though.
Yeah.
We follow this outlaw, Grant Dillon, as he's searching for these artifacts, and he ends up on this ranch. And I think what happens is he ingratiates himself with the family that's running this ranch and betrays them and ends up shooting up the household. He shoots a man. The brother of the man who gets shot rushes out to find a doctor.
Yeah, the guy that plays the doctor. I just wrote guy playing the doctor. Ha ha.
He's banging on the doctor's door from outside saying, "My brother has been shot. I need help." And when he goes inside, he's ambushed by Grant Dillon and his men. And then we get a shootout. There's a discussion about Dillon wanting that land, family land. So the man whose brother is shot is Kaleo, whose character's name is
Chest Rockwell.
Lane McRae. Yeah, Chest Rockwell. So then Lane McRae gets blasted in this scuffle. There's some very confusing editing with the broken bottle. And if you're not paying very close attention, you will miss that Grant Dillon is wounded in his eye.
Also, if you're not paying very close attention, you'll miss like 30 plot points in this movie.
Totally. Do you remember which eye was wounded?
No, I'm thinking it's the right eye.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, I couldn't remember if it was the left eye, but have you ever heard of soul scalping or the Black Eye Club?
No.
It's a weird conspiracy theory that if you look it up, you can find all of these pictures of celebrities with bruises on their left eye.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they feel like people think that it's possibly some kind of satanic or Illuminati ritual. The soul scalping idea is that something enters in through a person's eye and they're possessed by demons. So knowing how intelligent this film is and how deep it is with its symbolism and its metaphor, I wondered if it wasn't referencing the Black Eye.
It was in fact his right eye, as I said.
Ooh, all right. Well,
too bad.
Throw that theory out the window. Okay, so Lane is mortally wounded, okay, and he's laying on the floor. What happens to the doctor? Does he get shot, or is he just kind of hostage and watching all of this take place?
I feel like he watches a lot take place. I don't remember if he ends up getting killed somehow. He certainly seems like an investor in the movie, or they just ran or something.
Perhaps he's Mr. Ziff, Roy.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that this was a web series that somehow got funded to be a full-on thing.
Well, that I didn't know. My research didn't take me there.
Yeah. This is like some kind of web series that got money to make a whole movie.
Wonder how much they shot of it as a web series before they expanded it.
I don't know.
Well, Eric Roberts as Lucifer comes in this scene here to make a deal with Lane. I guess the deal is that Lane asks the devil to heal his brother, but Lane instead heals both brothers.
Cody. Well, if it ain't my big brother.
Somewhere in there, under all this mess, is my kid brother, who used to laugh with the Navajo children, who got thrown off horses more times than I care to count, who infuriated Pa with his coin flipping. That's the Cody I choose to remember the most.
Yeah, what did you think of Roberts in this movie as the devil? He is very Mephistopheles style devil.
Yeah, well, he has a bowler hat. He's dressed fancy for a West guy. He's not rugged looking. He's very
he wears shades.
Yeah. He's got round shades, kind of like the Coppola Dracula.
Yeah.
He's fun. He's a little more decipherable than he's been in some of the other recent Roberts films we've talked about.
Don't believe everything you read in the scriptures. I can smell fear and death, and that's pretty much where my talents end. This is why I need you.
He's very upbeat.
He plays it for the jokes, it seems like. He's never very intimidating or scary.
No.
But yeah, from what I gather, both brothers are brought back from the brink of death. Lane basically becomes this bounty hunter for hell that is mentioned in the tracker that's mentioned in the prologue.
Is this where he says, is this or later where Lane says he's Roberts's harlot?
Maybe that's said later.
Okay. Have we already had the part where he said his brother used to laugh at the Navajo children, but he doesn't really say that. He says like he used to play with or something. It sounds like he says that he used to laugh. He used to laugh with them, I guess.
That
But
comes
it
later.
sounds like he says they used to laugh. Okay, never mind.
We
So
don't-
I'm skipping ahead here.
Here's what's crazy is we don't even see this brother until a little while later. So like there's not even any kind of emotional bond there's nothing that's presented to you. You just have to take that these guys are bros. But what happens is that the devil offers the other brother, whose name escapes me, something McRae, Cody McRae.
It was Cody McRae, played by Adam LeClaire, who I kept thinking looked really familiar, but turns out I hadn't seen him in anything.
So Lane really kind of is a dumbass, because what happens is he bargains with Satan to save his brother, but he doesn't save his brother at all. Satan just makes that deal that he makes with everyone with his brother and says, hey, you can have your body back and go seek revenge on the guy that killed you. So we'll learn here in a bit when we meet Cody that there's a very demonic quality about him, as he belongs to the devil.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have we seen anybody like demon out yet in the movie?
No, it's about to happen.
Okay.
Maybe we see a little bit of that in the prologue. I don't remember. I remember something about rings of power and orcs.
There's a crazy skull in the prologue, right?
Yeah, there's a crazy skull.
Rings of power.
So it seems like we're starting to get into a bit of a plot here with this scene. But wait, Roy, the prologue continues. We find out that Lane pursues this outlaw Grant Dillon all throughout the duration of the Civil War. Lane is drafted into the Civil War,
right? And I was really wondering about the Civil War action, as if it was like stock footage or if they shot all this.
Yes. I was guessing it was some kind of weird stock footage that they got.
It looked like it matched their regular footage in color and stuff pretty well.
You think
but it
maybe
also
they just went
like,
to a reenactment?
Maybe, but some of like it looked pretty like movie, like where the guy gets shot in the head and falls all crazy. Like, in fact, you could kind of argue it was the highest quality footage in the movie.
Yeah, it reminded me of that insane horse chase in Purgatory, where you're like,
wow,
really
where it was like, wow, they
here.
really had some budget for this movie. Maybe it was a lot of times when I see something like this in a movie, like I think, like you just said, I think they just went to a Civil War reenactment and shot it, but I'm not sure they did. I don't know. I was really mystified by it.
Yeah, that is a huge mystery. Will we ever know? I guess we could.
We could call
we got to call Kirk. Kirk will tell us.
Kirk Murray.
So I'm pretty sure that the prologue does end after this chasing of Dillon throughout the Civil War and never being able to find him, because the next thing we see is a bar in the Old West, or a saloon, if you will. Lane comes in and he's looking for Dillon. I think he talks to the barkeep, who doesn't want any trouble. You ever seen a barkeep say that he doesn't want any trouble before?
They're always courting trouble.
There's some people playing poker here with the pretty lady.
Oh yeah.
And Lane realizes that some of these men are the very gang members of Grant Dillon, who ambushed him and killed him and his brother, or mortally wounded him and his brother. So Grant commences to shoot and vaporize these men.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We learn that his gun has been blessed by an Indian medicine man. So this is
so it can kill demons, I guess.
Yeah.
Or does it just kill anybody like that?
Demons.
Were those
I
guys demons that were at that poker game, or were they just people that he vaporized?
No, they were demons. They were, because they demon out.
Okay.
Yeah. So, they must have been. Well, we kind of also learn later that Grant has been accumulating these demonically resurrected outlaws who are out for revenge. He's using them.
Yeah, and that
to help
in that interminable prologue, it tells us that he's going to the ends of the earth or going all these places and getting weird power stones and stuff that help him control these forces of Hades. And I guess these guys are in fact forces of Hades that he controls.
Yeah, this is a kind of Thanos storyline where he's collecting stones. But I found it funny, the gun blessed by the Indian medicine man would work against these Judeo-Christian.
Yeah, that's when I started to realize
characters.
this wasn't a faith film.
Yeah. It's what's that word for multiple spiritual beliefs? I don't know.
Multi-theistic, pantheism. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's a kind of pantheistic, new agey kind of thing.
Yeah, you got power crystals. You got crystals.
Hey, we got power crystals. Hey, we got a demon named Uterus. I forget her name.
Yeah, it's a Thera.
Oh, there's also a saber, a Civil War saber that must have also been blessed, because he gets the last guy pinned down with the saber, and he's able to squeeze some information out of him about Grant's whereabouts, which he says is some town called Red Canyon, something like that. I have it written down later on here in the notes, but and then he vaporizes him with the saber, which is pretty cool. The lady who was playing poker with them instantly becomes, she knows him, she recognizes him, and instantly she becomes annoying and starts arguing with him in the classic way. Now, this is the actress. Roy, do you have her name here?
Oh, is this Michelle Rose as Liz Russell?
This is Liz, played by Michelle Rose, who is most popular in the industry as a stunt woman. She's been in a bunch of Marvel Comics universe films.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And as an actress, she has some actress credits.
Yeah, she was, I guess, in 3 episodes of Loki and 1 episode of the Mindy Project.
The first Wives Club TV series.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hacienda Heights, All My Children.
How about Made to Order TV series? I didn't realize that had its own series as well. So she's had a great career play in these like chick flick adapted TV series. Interesting.
Yeah, she sure has been in a lot of stunt work and things. She was in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which is still in post-production. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, also in post-production.
You can't really get too angry at the way that they make ladies look in westerns, because even when I was watching Josie Wells with old Sandra Locke, who was in a relationship with Eastwood for a while, so she was in like a bunch of his movies, and I remember her probably most from the orangutan films, Which Way But Loose. Well, she's really pretty and done up nicely and presented nicely in Josie Wells, as pretty much all women in westerns are. They're usually
not like when they made her look like that orangutan.
Yeah, but she is definitely wearing some modern makeup.
Oh yeah, Michelle Rose is looking real clean in this movie.
Yeah, has some nice highlights in her hair and whatnot. So she hits Lane with all these questions, and we kind of learn as they're arguing that they have a history with each other. I don't really remember what it is. I mean, I think
he always comes to town and they tussle and he leaves.
That's basically it. Yeah. So this is someone that he's met since he's become a demon tracker. It feels like.
Yeah, and she loves him or something. We get the feeling she would like to marry.
But when he starts to talk about it, it seems like this scene is the first time he's ever mentioned what it is that he does.
Oh man,
so maybe she's never seen him vaporize.
So far away, this would make me remember the end of the movie.
Maybe she's never seen him vaporize someone in quite the way that he did earlier. So he has to sort of explain, like, all right, here's the thing. Here's another funny new agey thing. They're not called demons, Roy, and people get corrected about this throughout the movie. According to Lane, the Orientals call them Oni.
Oh yeah, which was really confusing.
Yeah, so it's not really a Judeo-Christian kind of thing. I mean, you have the devil, and
you have an angel and God later.
Is God in this? I don't even remember.
No, God isn't in it. There's no God.
There's no God in Six Gun Savior.
No.
Now, do they ever refer to Lane as the Six Gun Savior?
I don't think so. Not that I recall.
All the material I read about the movie, says that he's known as the Six Gun Savior, but
I don't remember it ever mentioned.
Yeah, me neither. Perhaps it was, though. So outside of this saloon where he's arguing with Liz, arrives Cody, Lane's brother, who is an Oni himself since the horrible fucking deal that Lane made with Satan. What is it? Lane says something about his brother being under the influence of Satan, or something about his brother listens to too much heavy metal or something. He says that his brother used to infuriate Pa with his coin flipping.
Oh yeah,
he was an incessant coin flipper, and I think when we first see Cody, he's flipping a coin.
Hell yeah, the brothers, he has this crazy coin we'll get to later.
Yeah, the brothers instantly are arguing when they run into each other, and I think Lane says something like, I don't even know who you are anymore. Of course, he's half Oni at this point, Roy. You know, he's not quite the man that he used to be. Eric Roberts shows back up as Lucifer.
Yeah, and this is the part where the main guy complains of being Eric Roberts as Harlot.
This is where we kind of find out that Cody's trying to find Dylan and kill him to get revenge. But we know from the prologue what happens once he kills Dylan.
Yes.
His soul belongs to Satan forever. So Lane, what he's been doing is trying to track down Dylan and kill Dylan or stop Dylan before Cody can get to him, which is kind of neat, I guess. He's doing it for his brother's sake. What would happen, I guess, if Lane has a different deal than Cody has, right? Lane's not an Oni. He's just a tracker. Lane just kills Oni.
Yeah, he's not actually out for revenge, I guess, but he kind of is, right?
Yeah.
Against the guy that killed his family.
But he can get, I guess the thing is he can get revenge and not lose his soul over it. But I mean, what the hell? Like he's a tracker for Satan who's been resurrected. I guess there's just different rules that apply to maybe the thing is he's just trying to prevent Cody from going to hell instead of both brothers going to hell.
I think that could be it.
That's probably it.
Maybe.
We most importantly here,
the way we get with what's his face, Kaleo Griffith, is I'm not sure if he possesses the wherewithal to think of any of these things.
No, he's just kind of guided by his hormones, I guess.
Yeah, he does. It's not a very he doesn't have a real intellectual quality to him.
He doesn't. We learn here that Lucifer is very limited in his power. And
yes.
Eric Roberts says something about the Bible got it a little bit wrong about as far as how much power I have.
Yeah, you can't pay attention to the scriptures.
So that's why he uses all these guys and makes all these deals. Also, I mean, this is really one of the only times.
Yeah, this is where it was really reminding me of the Faust, because in the Faust, the devil will talk about the limits of his powers and stuff and things like that.
Yeah, which, I mean, he's going to have to come up with a different plan eventually, because as the Old West fades and these outlaws who want revenge become more scarce, you know what I'm saying? The whole outlaw business is going to dry up for him
when police methods become more.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a sequel to Six Gun Savior and set it among the mafia and make it about organized crime guys who get resurrected to get revenge. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, and they get pinky rings to.
Yeah, well, Zathira is also mentioned in this scene here, and Lucifer is very interested in Zathira because they are not in league with each other.
Is this the scene, or is it coming up in a minute where Eric Roberts says, "This one need you"?
Oh, it's in the scene, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't quite remember how the scene ends, but Cody and Lane go their separate ways, and Liz ends up tagging along with Lane.
Yeah.
She doesn't want her to, but she does.
Yeah, throughout the film, Lane will accumulate his own Josie Wales-esque family of stragglers.
True, very true. It's a straggler adventure.
This movie will have endless characters. Endless scenes, characters, and plot points.
So the next thing we see is Dylan Grant now in an eye patch over his right eye at a mine. He's at the opening of a mine shaft. And he's using some of these new age crystals. The dangers of the new age, Roy, you have to be careful. It's very enticing. And he uses these crystals to summon Zathira from inside the mine against her will. And he uses her to resurrect a dead outlaw.
Yeah, I noticed that he uses a green glowing tampon crystal to control the woman, Zathira.
Yeah, it is a very Kotexy looking thing. And I can't remember, does he just drag a corpse? Somehow there's a dead guy who gets brought back to life. And Zathira explains to him,
that he's in the movie Six Gun Savior.
Yeah. Yeah. Sign this release form. She explains to him that he can wander around until his final judgment, or he can be resurrected and get revenge. I think she also explains to him that if he does choose that, then he forfeits his soul to hell. And the guy in this scene is really funny. He's like, well, I want to get the scum sucker who shot me in the back.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
So the seduction of revenge is so powerful, Roy. that these men would rather than go to what's the name of the town in purgatory?
Refuge.
Rather than go to refuge and maybe see if they can walk the straight and narrow for 10 years. These guys are just like, fuck it. Give me my body back and let me kill this guy.
Yeah. Which they
But
get.
what happens is he does come back to life, but Grant with his voodoo uses his crystals to recruit the man against his will into his army on his quest to, I don't remember what's going on. Maybe he doesn't have total control over Zathira just yet. He still has other stuff that he has to acquire in video game fashion. So now we see some of Grant's men, but Grant isn't in this other scene. But we see some undead
so if you're
outlaws.
keeping track, Grant Dillon is our villain. He's on a quest to get stones. And then what's his face? The one with the dead brother, Cody McRae. He's on a quest to get Grant Dillon. And then
his brother
Kaleo Griffith, our hero, he's on a quest to get Cody McRae.
Yes,
brother.
while also being a harlot of Satan working as a tracker.
Satan's harlot.
Which really, he's cleaning up the streets when you think about it. He's getting rid of these.
Wait, maybe he is the narrator at the beginning of the movie if he's a tracker for the devil.
Yeah, but I think maybe it could be Cove, because we do learn that Cove was the former tracker, and that, like you said, might be mentioned in the prologue. But the next scene,
the guy in the prologue says he's a tracker for the devil. That was the only reason I thought it was Martin Cove.
It very well could be Kaleo. I just don't know.
I don't know either.
I was more excited about the roller coaster and if I would be tall enough to ride it. So I wasn't paying that close attention to the prologue.
Yeah.
I was eating a corn dog at the time too. So the next thing we see are a bunch of Grant's undead soldiers attacking a Navajo village. So they're killing all of these Native Americans. Lane shows up on horseback to save the day and starts blasting them with his blessed gun and vaporizing them. There's a guy here who's not undead, who has been fighting off these Grant soldiers, and this is
it Hawk?
This is Hawk, played by
Kyle Hawkins Matthew Ziff, who looks like he's probably Lorraine Ziff's brother or son.
Lorraine is kind of older.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe Matthew is her son.
Let's see here. Yeah, he very well could be. He is like 27 years younger than her.
I think
I'm guessing you're probably right.
The guy who was resurrected outside of the mine shaft is played by the actor Jason Matthew Smith. The character's name, Burt Beck.
That's the guy resurrected. I guess you're right.
I think
he looks really different in his IMDb picture. You're right.
Burt Bacharach.
He's been a lot. He's done a lot of Star Trek.
Yeah. What the world needs now is love.
But he's only been in one thing since Six Gun Savior.
What's that?
Something in 2022 called Bullet Train.
The Brittany Griner story?
Wait, is that new movie with Brad Pitt?
It is, yes. I just saw a commercial for that yesterday.
Yes. So I guess, it's his first credit since Six Gun Savior.
Whoa.
So I wonder if he's also a
comeback.
Man. Yeah, big comeback.
So yeah, this Hawk guy is a sharpshooter, and he doesn't like Lane because Lane is Union scum, he calls him. So he draws his gun on Lane and Liz, and there's also a lady squaw who is around doing stuff. There's a lady Native American who draws her bow, an arrow, and points it at Hawk. So there's some tension between all of them, and then Hawk joins up with them because the whole village is massacred. All the natives are gone. The Oni are all vaporized, and they ride on in search of Grant Dillon. So the next thing we see...
Does she not go along with them as well?
Yeah, the lady squaw joins them as well.
Muna.
Muna.
Played by Maya Tremblay.
Is she a Native American woman?
That's a good question. I was confused about this because she definitely has kind of an Asian quality to me.
Yes.
And but I kind of thought she stole the movie.
Interesting.
I thought she was my favorite part of the movie.
Well,
and
much
I was
like
disappointed to see that she has not been in much since this movie.
And much like Outlaw Josie Wells, we have a female squaw who tags along.
Yeah, I guess this pretty much completes our little like family of people that Kaleo, whatever gets. He gets Hawk and Liz and Muna.
Kaleo Ziffith.
Yes.
So the next thing we see is Cody McRae showing up at another saloon, talking to another saloon keeper who doesn't want any trouble. And he's looking, who do you think he's looking for, Roy? He's looking for Grant Dillon.
Yeah.
Grant Dillon is there. He orders his men to get rid of Cody. I got ahead of myself.
This isn't where he goes to. Is this where he goes to the hotel?
Yeah, well, he goes to a saloon, and I think the saloon keeper tips him off. Then he ends up at a hotel where he has a strange scene with an effeminate innkeeper. A scene to rival the scene in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, I wrote the same thing, that the desk clerk was an ancestor of Alan Cumming in Eyes Wide Shut.
Cumming, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. And this is also where he flips the coin, or he shows the guy the coin, and we get the feeling it's a hell coin.
Yeah, and the Alan Cumming guy is very interested in that coin, and so it kind of draws your attention to it again. And Cody knocks him out, grabs the key, and goes up to Grant's room where Grant and Zathira are.
Oh yeah, also the clerk allows him to pay with the mystery coin. It's like, if you're a hotel clerk, it's like, can you really run a business just taking like random currencies that you've never heard of from places you've never seen?
I feel like whatever happened in that scene with the Native Americans, there was something taken in that scene that completed the Thanos glove, where Grant is able to finally have full power over Zathira, because in this scene he makes her human. She becomes human in the flesh. And she tries to seduce him.
Oh yeah.
And she asks him what he wants, and he says he wants dominion over death.
And he's like, take off your wig, Lorraine Ziff. And she's like, no.
Yeah, and he's like, I want an army of sexy undead men that I can have my way with. Kind of like that one serial killer guy, Jeffrey Dahmer. Remember, he wanted his dream was to have a zombie.
Oh, wow.
Zombie man that he could have his way with. So as Zathira is coming on to Grant, he subdues her with one of the crystals. So we kind of know that whatever's happened here between the mine shaft scene and now, I don't know, somehow he's like has her as she's under his control, Roy. I don't know.
Yeah.
How.
So like, is he going to use her to lead him to more crystals and stuff?
Oh, probably. I don't remember. I don't remember his plan for world domination. I know he wants an army. He wants to just keep collecting these undead guys.
Yeah.
And use them. So yeah, maybe there is like one, there's more stuff that he probably needs. The next thing we see is the good guy campsite, where we see Muna channeling the spirits, or Muni. Is it Muni or Muna?
Muna, I think. Muna or something.
This is where we learn that she knew Cody as a child, and this is where we find out about Cody playing with the Navajo.
Yeah, and she used to have a crush on the little brother, Cody.
Yeah, and their land, the McRae Ranch, was near where a lot of these Navajo were. So they all.
I guess years have gone by, and like, what's his face? The main guy, he says that if she saw that Cody hasn't aged in all these years, she'd be creeped out. It doesn't tell her that. Yeah.
And it's mentioned that Lane says something like, if I didn't know any better, I think maybe she had the eye for old Cody. Something like that.
Yeah.
So next thing that I have here in my notes, in this ream of notes that I have for the plot of this film.
Is this where Liz and where we have the shot of the starry night, and Liz and what's his name? Grant Lane go off and talk on their lonesome for a minute about how she was in love with him and stuff, and he says, Liz, maybe you'd like it if I spouted some mumbo jumbo about my feelings for you. And I was thinking, this movie hasn't stopped spouting mumbo jumbo since it started.
Remember when he says, Liz, perhaps I'd be more attracted to you if you wouldn't always be going off at the mouth about your pubic hair in such an open way, vulgar way. So we see, here's another thing that reminded me Well, this one reminded me of High Plains Drifter. The next scene is Dylan sends some of his henchmen to attack a sleeping body in a room.
Oh yeah, which is
And,
really hilarious.
I don't remember how they attack it. Do they beat it
They
or
like,
shoot it?
yeah, they like stab it with things or something, and like really like it's of all the movie scenes where people have attacked a thing that's clearly not going to turn out to be what they're trying to attack. Man, this is one of the worst.
Yeah, this is the worst decoy scene I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Then Cody jumps out and kills all of them. But of course, it's a really good scene in High Plains Drifter where it's just a dummy of, or is it someone's dead body? I think it's a dummy. I think in this one, the decoy is a body of someone else.
Yeah, that's what another thing that makes it so crazy is that it's so unconvincing, and then you find out it really is a body, not just some straw or something.
Yeah. Now Cody kills the guys here. I have in my notes, and for the life of me, Roy, I can't remember if they get vaporized or what.
I can't remember either.
Yeah.
Is this where he starts getting like arrested by the?
Yeah. The lawmen bust in and they arrest Cody.
Yeah.
Did you recognize any of these lawmen?
I'm not sure. No, not that I can recall. Did you?
No. Just reading my notes here.
Cordell
I have no memory of
Pace
this scene at all.
I remember this actor Cordell Pace just looked really out of place in a Western for some reason. He just seemed very modern.
Very kind of nerdy black man.
Yeah.
Who doesn't feel right at all. Here.
No, he just
right. He was one of the deputies.
He's another guy that feels like he invested in the movie or something.
Yeah, like this was a guy they'd promised. This is a guy who invested in the movie and also probably in the idea that there would be playing cards. There were trading cards. There would be Six Gun Savior trading cards.
Yeah.
He looks like a Six Gun Savior trading card collector for sure.
Yeah, maybe he worked on the special effects on the movie, the computer effects.
Oh yeah, somewhere
he probably
here.
made that intro.
That's true. Yeah, he's probably the computer graphics guy. I have a note here that around this time we see Lane's brand that he has on him. He's been branded by the devil and it's a big pentagram.
Oh yeah, and what's her face Liz says it's an excuse, and he uses it as an excuse not to get close to people or her.
Yeah, so what happens, this is back at the campground. So I think the campground scene is broken up into two sections.
Night and day, or night and later night.
It's later night, and Liz takes off and Hawk goes with her. So Lane and Muna are left together, I believe. And the next day in the jailhouse, Grant Dillon visits Cody in his jail cell. He bribes the lawmen to leave them alone together. And this is where Cody hulks out into an Oni.
Yes.
And he breaks out of the cell thinking that it's going to be easy for him to just attack and kill Grant. But Grant has power over Cody. Yeah,
he has like a magical purple throat lozenge, which I thought was kind of a poor match with the tampon he has for Zathira. I was thinking he should have a magical cock ring.
Yeah, I forgot about the choker that he has. But we find out that it's not Grant. Remember, it's actually Zathira who has shapeshifted.
Oh yeah, we get this a few times with.
So this is really how she's
so convoluted.
Yeah, and I guess this is how she's able to overpower Cody. And once she puts the choker on him, the real Grant comes in and tells him that he can control him with this gemstone. Yeah. Very unrighteous gemstone, Roy.
Starring Eric Roberts.
Yeah. I hear he's pretty good in that second season.
That's what I've heard.
So something here where Lane shows up.
Yeah, and does some hilarious acting here by Lane. His acting in a few scenes is like some classic bad overacting.
But he is stopped by the lawmen. The lawmen slow him down and they prevent him from catching Grant and now the imprisoned Cody and Zathira. They get away. But Lane and Muna are saved by Liz and Hawk, who come back. So they reappear. I guess they had a change of heart. And then,
around this time is when Liz finds a map of Frontier City.
Yeah. Where does she find the map?
Frontierland. I can't remember. Like, it seems like it's like that I don't know, it's somewhere in there.
Silver Dollar City, Wild West stunt show.
Yeah. That's half the time you think the actors are just going to be like, all right, we'll be back in 15 minutes. We've got to go do our Wild West showdown on for the kids.
I read my notes a little bit incorrectly. They don't get away here. Lane. So what happens is Liz and Hawk help Lane to overpower the lawman. Lane breaks into the jailhouse and he aims his gun at Grant and he's just about to take vengeance, but he restrains and he tells him, no, you're going to face a court of law. And so he orders him into a cell to stand trial. So then, I don't know, I'm missing some notes here. So what happens in my notes here is it jumps and says, Hawk and Liz come in to see them getting soul sucked. Sharpshooter Hawk shoots the amulet right off Zathira's neck. Zathira disappears in a pillar of flames. Grant bolts and rides off in fear. Lane tries to go stop Cody from chasing after Grant. He attacks Hawk and bolts himself. Lane chases on horseback. Where do you think we are time-wise in the movie?
About 15 minutes in.
Man, there's still so much. This is where I was really angry. When I looked at the time, I paused it and was like, oh my God, there's so much more movie. This is the longest. This is psychically the longest Eric Roberts movie
So Cameron Cash played the innkeeper, the desk clerk guy,
the Alan Cumming style guy.
Yes, and he was the son of author Elena Cash and producer Tom Cash, who was called the Orson Welles of 60s biker flicks. He is a distant relative of Johnny Cash, and he studied acting at University of Texas and such, and is a film production graduate from there. And Six Gun Savior was his last credit as an actor, but he played a greaser in Love Monkey, the TV series. I know you're a big Love Monkey watcher, and
I'll watch anything with greasers in it.
And he was in something called Countdown Jerusalem in 2009.
Who is he playing here in this?
He was the Alan Cumming role.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was in something called The Efficiency Expert's Guide to Better Business and some other things. And then also I looked up the expression mumbo jumbo, and mumbo jumbo is a West African word often cited by historians and etymologists as deriving from the Mandingo word Mama Jombu, which refers to a masked male dancer and who takes part in religious ceremonies. In the 18th century, mumbo jumbo referred to a West African god. And there you go.
I always wanted to read that book Mumbo Jumbo by Ishmael Reed.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, he was an African American author. It's supposed to be, I don't know, it's supposed to be kind of a wild book. I don't remember what it's about or when it's from. I just always heard about it.
Ishmael Reed.
Ishmael Reed.
You can read his book.
Yes. Hey, remember when that sharpshooter shot the amulet right off of Zathira's neck? That was pretty crazy. When he shot that amulet off of her neck, I thought, man, this movie's probably almost over. But boy, was I wrong. And the map, you had mentioned a map.
Yes.
So that's what I have in my notes here, that Liz and Lane are studying a map.
Yeah.
It says here, Hawk and the squaw get in trouble with the saloon keeper who's wielding a shotgun.
Yeah, he tells him to take his squaw with him.
There's a lot of saloons in this movie, maybe 5 or 6 saloons, because right after this scene, in fact, is Grant Dillon in another saloon. And this might be the biggest, fanciest one.
This is maybe where we meet Martin Cove.
Indeed it is. So this is like a really big, nice
15 minutes along into the movie. Probably like 40 minutes along or something. I feel like Martin Cove doesn't show up till like 40 minutes into the movie or something.
Yeah, I mean, spiritually it felt like we were 15.
It felt like we were like 3 hours into the movie.
Yeah.
So much had happened, and it really felt. I was also angry at the movie when I realized how little time had gone by.
Well, you can't say
also that it's not like you think, when you get into these super low budget movies, which how low budget this even was mysterious, because sometimes it seemed like it had a decent budget and sometimes it didn't, but you expect them to be like right on that 90-minute line, and then you found out that this one is like 111 minutes and you're like, no.
Yeah, it's just a very strangely balanced budget in this film, money being used in strange ways. Where you think it's
Very
cheap
much
and then it
so.
surprises you.
Yeah, because also like those zombie people are always zombie or when they demon out or oni out and stuff. It's like you've probably seen worse use
Yeah,
of
well, there's a
effects.
lot of
Very
hepatitis contact
from
lens in this movie.
yes, a lot of it from and very from dusk till dawning.
Who knows what the contact lens budget was for this film?
Or
But
if they
that's
just
the
colored their eyes in post a lot of the time.
I thought about that as well. I think it's probably pretty easy to do that now and cheap, and anyone can do it. So
I think they
possibly.
might have just
Sometimes though, it's hard to
colored their
say.
eyes in post.
Well,
Martin Cove's eyes kept making me lust over that old tan colored M&M that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Was the tan M&M a lady?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, remember they had a sexy green M&M and they changed it.
Oh, I don't remember.
There was a
that.
controversy about that in the great PC wars of the 2010s, where you had this sexy stiletto wearing green M&M, and in all the commercials there was all of this like sexiness.
The green M&M is my
Innuendo.
favorite.
And there was always an urban legend about green M&Ms being like a aphrodisiac.
Oh yeah, that was a legend. Oh yeah, I see these pictures of the green M&M.
So they kept her gender, but they totally desexed her and turned her into like a sassy glasses wearing kind of a Tina Fey style female, a feminist.
Yeah, she
M&M.
does have stilettos.
Yeah.
Pretty wacky.
Yeah. So this is where we meet Martin Cove, and he's playing cards with his hepatitis eyes.
I always confuse Martin Cove with David Keith. Only in recent years can I remember they're not the same guy. It's one of those through all the actors that look alike. Kurt Russell and
David Keith.
Yeah, David
I always
Keith.
mistake David Keith for Keith David.
Yeah, that's the one that happens too.
I feel like Martin Cove was in a movie called Cry Freedom, where he played a hero. There was a movie in the 80s that he was in that I had seen, and it was maybe the only time that he ever played like the lead, and that he was an action star in it. You don't remember it?
I don't know. I've never seen Death Race 2000, which he's in. He's definitely in Rambo 2, but he's not a good guy, as I recall. He's kind of a henchman of, what's his name, Charles Napier. Something. Let's see. Let's look this up. There was
Martin Cove's acting career started in 1971. I think the movie I'm thinking about is called Still. In fact, it is called Still Justice.
Replaced John Steele.
Yeah, directed by Robert Boris, who I'm not familiar with him.
Boris has Ronnie Cox, who I like.
There are 3 taglines.
Whoa,
for Still Justice, Roy.
Robert Boris wrote Electric Glide in Blue.
You don't recruit John Still, you unleash him. So yeah, I definitely watched this when I was a kid.
He wrote Dr. Detroit.
Remember really being into the cover art for it.
And Some Kind of Hero. Wow, this guy, Robert Boris, he had quite the writing career.
So there you go. That's what I was thinking of. But I really liked Cove in this. Who did you say you thought stole the film? The Squaw?
Yeah, Cove was actually another good choice.
Yeah, Cove is very lovable and fun in this. And he scares, it says here in the scene, he scares all the card players off. I think he demons out somehow.
Is this the one where he's playing cards with the dude and is like going to take his hand or his finger with the ring or whatever? You know, he's going to take his hand if the guy loses the hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know in my notes it says that Grant joins him. Just as this happened, Cody busts into the saloon, who's been chasing after Grant.
I also wondered if David Keith is wearing enough makeup in the movie, or Martin Cove.
Martin Cove. Yeah, he's got some pretty pancakey looking skin in this. Bless his heart. Well, I mean, Martin Cove is probably almost 80 years old at this point.
Whoa.
He's 76.
Wow.
He was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1946.
Wow.
Just after the Great War.
Wow.
You think his father served?
His father's probably that guy in that famous photograph of the people kissing.
Yeah. Private Cove. Is that the name of that photograph?
Yeah.
Private Cove Comes Home. I think that's what the name of that photograph is. Mystery solved. Do you remember this scene here where Cody busts in and I think Cove fends him off at first, but then he kind of buddies up with him.
Yeah.
He explains something to him.
They're like behind the bar or something.
Yeah, and then Lane shows up and starts vaporizing the place to hell. And then
Then set like a whole crew of new characters show up.
Yeah,
Or is
so
that
this is where we
later?
get a posse of demon hunters who are not supernatural, but just spiritual
Did you
guys,
look
right?
into any of these people?
Yeah, there was one guy who really cracked me up who was way out of place. Who
Well,
was like,
there's the African American guy that's the priest that's played by Tim Russ. And I thought this was a good opportunity to bring up Tim Russ was on Star Trek Next Generation and in some various Star Trek films as kind of a background member of the Enterprise crew. But he also, around this same time, I met him because I was sent to many times during this movie, or not many times, but after I watched this movie, I read a review that talked about its that saw them. Somebody reviewed this movie that saw the movie at a screening of it at the Crest Theater, like its
I remember
premiere.
you telling me this story.
I used to get sent to the
you were
Crest.
sent to vaporize a man who'd made a pact.
Yeah, I used to get sent a lot to the Crest Theater for work to cover these premieres, and I got sent to cover Star Trek Renegades, a movie of it that was similar to this, was a web series that somehow got like crowdfunding or funding or something, and was supposed to have like Sean Young and Edward Furlong are in it, and they never showed up. And I was thinking, man, I wish they'd sent me to cover this, and I could have met Martin Cove and Eric Roberts. But Tim Gunn was also in that, as was and I don't remember her from the premiere at all. Maya Tremblay apparently was in the Star Trek Renegades. A lot of crossover. I bet the same companies maybe helped fund these or something.
Yeah.
But also the leader of this posse is actor Anthony DeLongis, who's stuntman, also another stuntman, and he's the guy that played Blade in the Masters of the Universe movie. The guy with the huge swords.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's had quite the extensive career. He was in Roadhouse.
I always thought it was imaginative that they named the guy with the huge swords Blade.
Yeah, he was in multiple episodes of Arrested Development as the same character, 3 to be exact.
I think the guy I was thinking about who's in the posse is an actor I'm looking at named Paul Borghese. Yeah, it's him by looking at his picture. He was in The Irishman.
Whoa,
he's a very Sopranos American looking guy. And
where do we find him? I don't see him on this list of Six Gun Savior actors.
He plays the character Angel Mendez.
Oh, I saw the character name earlier. Paul Borghese. Oh yeah.
So he's the super Italian-y accent guy in this scene after Lane kills all these guys with his gun. Because I forgot to mention too earlier in the movie.
Well, he played Yogi Berra in the movie 61.
Oh, okay. So has like a somewhat decent career.
Yeah, all the people in this posse have better careers than the people that are the main people in the movie. Because also the lady in the posse, Luciana Caro, who's immediately kind of a strong presence in the film. Like when she shows up, she's been in a bunch of movies. She's in your favorite film, White Chicks.
Yeah.
She's in Blades of Glory. She was on the Hatfields and McCoy show. Wait, this is a different Hatfields and McCoys. I think this isn't the one we're familiar with from Kevin Reynolds. She hasn't been in like anything after Six Gun Savior, but she's been in tons of stuff over the years.
This is all fascinating stuff, Roy, but it's not as fascinating as the rules of the film Six Gun Savior.
The L word.
And it's mentioned earlier when the gun thing is shown, the blessed gun that can vaporize people. The only other way to kill these Onis is you have to cut their heads off. So if you have a normal gun, it's not going to do anything. It's like they're just zombies. You have to cut the head off.
Oh.
So when these guys show up that are part of this church posse, they show up after, or I guess they show up as Lane is blowing them all away with his gun. The Borghese guy says, "How do you kill them without cutting their heads off?" It's really stuck out to me. And this is where we learn that the hunters are headed for the town Purgatory. So do you remember what's their thing? Like they roam around killing Onis?
I think they're all, I don't know. They're all people that have something. I got no idea.
Which is funny because they're really just doing what Satan wants. he
Yeah.
wants to send these guys to hell. I
That's
guess
very
really to keep his
crazy.
racket going. I guess really here's Satan's plan, Roy. I figured it out. He has these guys go and seek revenge. Okay. Once they've achieved their revenge, they have to go to hell. But then what happens is, no, that doesn't make any sense, because if he resurrected the guys that were shot or killed, you know, and tells them, promises that he can give them their life back and they can have seek vengeance. But the guy that the person that they would go to seek vengeance for has already been sent to hell. So that kills my theory. Never mind. I really didn't think that out.
I think you're right. That is what the movie's doing.
I
Not
mean,
thinking it out.
no, I mean, you think Satan really wants to try and he wants other people to do his work for him. So that would be a good racket. But yeah, anyways, these guys are doing his job for him. Is basically what I'm saying. Sending the Oni souls to his kingdom because he's trying to expand his kingdom, as is explained in the prologue, narrated possibly by Martin Cove, possibly by Kaleo Griffith. We're not sure yet. I have here in my notes, Roy, that the squaw is studying some horse tracks.
Nice.
And so they're able to track Grant. Then I have here, it says Cove, Martin Cove and Cody are together now at this point. And I think Cody trusts Cove because they're both Oni. But what happens is Cove betrays him and he takes him to Grant, who puts the gem necklace back on him. So Cody becomes his slave again. But Grant also steals Cody's flippin' coin. So now it's all coming back to me. And the thing is that Grant needed this one mineral that he couldn't find to complete his Thanos glove.
Yeah, and it's that in that coin.
It's a coin that was made from some material that was found on the McCrae property.
And that's why he was killing the parents in the beginning.
Yeah, so he had some kind of limited control over Zathira, but he didn't have the full power that he wants. So it says here, the next day, Lane and his crew stop after a day of riding.
So I guess we really hadn't completed the family of Lane, because now he's got like 10 more people.
In his crew? No, those guys went their own way. Remember?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
No,
the posse went to Purgatory.
obviously I don't.
They're like, we're going to a town called Purgatory, where Sam Shepard is it's a prequel where Shepard is still there.
Yeah.
He hasn't been what'd you say? He hasn't
entered his house justified.
Yes, that's right. Anyhow, it's just the regular crew. And they've been tracking, because of the squaw's skills of tracking, they have been riding all day and all night. And this is where the ladies argue. Remember Liz and
this is one of the
Muna?
greatest scenes of the movie. You're right.
Yeah.
They definitely don't have other people. They just got Hawk and Muna. And now this is the part where Muna starts bitching to Lane in, well, I forget what tribe she is. Her people's
Navajo,
language.
I believe.
Oh, so she's code talking. She's a wind talker. Talking to him about how Liz never does any work and doesn't go collect firewood. Liz doesn't know what she's saying, but gets the drift, more or less, that she's being disparaged as a loafer, a gold bricker.
And I hate to always get on this show and talk about the way I would do the movie, but it would be funny to see Eric Roberts here invisibly influencing the women to fight with and bicker with each other.
I liked it the way it was, where they just this is one of those scenes where I liked Maya Tremblay. Liz is like, I'm gonna go collect a bunch of firewood, and then Muna says that she's gonna collect twice as much firewood as Liz in the same amount of time, just to show how much of a gold bricker she is.
So I thought I was watching an episode of fucking Survivor at this point.
Yeah, then old Hawk is like, what are they talking about, and or what's going on, and Lane tells him that not to ask, it would make his head explode.
Yeah.
They just don't understand women. He doesn't say that last part, but that's what he's implying. He starts challenging Hawk to shoot this thing on the run on his horse, and Hawk is having a hard time doing it, and Lane's trying to show him how to do it, and they're doing this macho shooting stuff, and the women watch them and are like, boys are stupid, and that's the end of the scene. They actually say that.
Yeah. We get this mentor relationship developing between Lane and Hawk. Did you feel like it was a very well thought out relationship in the story?
It's
okay.
I don't know. I've seen worse.
They're not that different in age, so that doesn't really sell it too well. I have
Hawk
here
definitely read younger than the other characters.
a little bit younger. I have here in my notes that Liz and Lane have a fight. That's all I have. I don't remember how
Oh
that
yeah,
ends.
let's see if I have anything about that.
Still got 3 hours left of Six Gun Savior, by the way. Not even reached the half.
There's a part where a guy wants to sell. Oh yeah, we haven't gotten to the part where they like kill all those soldiers or where they kill a whole town or something.
We haven't gotten to 90% of the movie.
These are like weird scavenger guys, like in the Wild Bunch. Once again, they come upon all the dead corpses, rifles, and collect all these rifles.
Oh, that happens. Yeah, but there's other stuff here that we got to
Oh my bad. Go ahead.
address. Well, we need to explain that Cove is a tracker, and he's a very good tracker. He's better than Lane in that he can track Zathira by watching this fire.
Oh yeah,
and that's what makes him valuable.
Yeah, so he can chase her. She can disappear through fire or something, and he can follow her or trace her. Yeah.
So like he's in cahoots now with Grant, and Cody is Grant's slave at this point with the necklace. And yeah, Liz walks out on Lane. Now it's nighttime at the camp, good guys camp, and Lane wakes up to Liz on top of him in a sexual way.
Yeah.
But we know instantly, Roy, it ain't Liz. It's Zathy.
Yeah.
And
in Liz form.
This is some good, like Lane being justified in beating a woman. He knows that it's a evil spirit, so he beats her off of him and they fight. Oh, the actual Liz shows up.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a double cat fight. We have two Liz's fighting each other, which was pretty crazy. You know, some of these ideas in this movie are not bad.
That was one of the things where it's like this movie was really frustrating because you felt like they never meant to make a bad movie, you know. So sometimes we watch these low budget movies that are bad and they were really trying to rip you off, you know. They were, what do we call those, mockbusters and things, and
yeah,
they knew they weren't trying to. This is definitely trying to be a good movie and just failing terribly.
I was
for the most
thinking
part.
At some point.
I was thinking also, like, if you were a little kid, it might be good.
Well, what I was thinking was if you were a little kid and this was a psychotronic novel, that was kind of more of a young adult book, or a book like just a pulpy novel. I don't know. I think it would have worked better as a book for sure.
Yeah, I was also wondering who the target audience of this was. I guess just fans of supernatural movies and westerns.
Yeah.
At times it felt like it was almost G-rated, and all of a sudden something would happen and you'd be like, wait, this isn't very G-rated.
Yeah, I mean, it's going for some Indiana Jones iconic. It tries to be iconic, but it just doesn't have the budget or the libido to do it. So they run off Zathira.
Yeah, and then Liz is mad that Zathira was getting with Lane, even though she actually wasn't.
Yeah. What does she say? Like, I can't believe you couldn't tell it wasn't me, right? Some bullshit like that. Some obvious shit like that. I have a note here that says oppressive musical cues. Okay, so this is a scene in the daytime, and it's some kind of, what's it called when you're a lunger? What's that thing that Doc Holliday had? Yeah, it seems to be like a lot of people with tuberculosis in this camp that are sick, and it's a bunch of nurses and stuff. And Zathira wanders into this camp. This was kind of a neat scene. She shapeshifts herself into one of the tuberculosis nurses, and she talks to.
Yeah, this is crazy.
You've had so much torn away from you. Do you believe that life is a blessing?
It's a damn curse. I wish I'd never been born.
She talks to this sick man about his life, and she asks him if he wants to be euthanized. So, and what does he say, Roy? Instantly, he's like, yes, you would be doing me a favor. So she Kevorkians the guy and then proceeds
this is
to kill
like another just crazy where you're like, wait, this movie has more set pieces than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, and this kind of felt like it cost some money to do this.
Yeah.
All the Old West hospital shit they have set up here.
Yeah, hospital tents and stuff.
She kills the whole sick camp, and every other goddamn scene in this movie, someone shows up, and it's Grant and Martin Cove this time catch up to her. So I forget what happens. Martin Cove's character is the mentor. I always forget to mention that. The mentor is going to do some Yeah, he's gonna perform some ritual. Remember, Martin Cove talks in some crazy, scary Navajo code breaker wind
Mumbo
talker.
jumbo.
Mumbo jumbo. Did you mention that earlier about him?
No.
Yeah, he talks mumbo jumbo. And he's gonna take her power. And then, yeah, so then I have here that Cove 6 Demon Cody on Grant. So Cove double crosses Grant. So this Cove, this mentor guy, he's a double cross in SOB. He's not to be trusted. I forget what happens. He doesn't kill Grant. He does something to him. Do you remember? Sorry. Lane shows up like he always does with his crew. And then, yeah, guns a-blazing. Zathira escapes. Lane removes the necklace from Cody. I feel like maybe Grant also escapes for the 800th time. So it says here, Smug Eric arrives as Satan. And we find out, this is where we find out that Martin Cove was Lane's predecessor, a tracker hunter. Maybe we find this out for the second or third time. This could have been the first time I found out about it. I don't remember. Grant explains that he dug up the McCrae Ranch, searching for the most powerful mineral of all. The special metal was in the form of Cody's coin. They have to melt it down into a bullet to shoot Zathira with, right? It's the only thing that can stop Zathira is this coin. Are you still with me, Roy?
Yes.
Are you still excited to talk about this film?
I was trying to think of when the little girl shows up. That hasn't happened yet, has it?
Plot points left. It's about to happen.
Okay.
The devil and the mentor talk. There's tension between them where I think the devil's always chasing after Cove. Giving him a head start.
When she was killing that Lunger guy, the guy tells her he wishes he'd never been born.
Yeah,
and I could really identify with him.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's like, I wish I'd never been born right now.
Because you're dying of consumption.
No, because this movie is just interminable.
Oh yeah.
I wish I was terminal so I didn't have to finish the movie.
But you are terminal, Roy, because you have the HIV.
You're right. I don't know.
Did Bronson Pinchot ever get back to you about the party? Let me know when that goes down. I'll bring the drugs.
You're gonna kill Bronson.
The final
Pinchot.
drugs. Cody in chains. He and Squaw talk. She loved him. So Roberts cuts a deal with Martin Cove where he says, I need you to track Zathira through the fire in exchange for I'll give you a few days head start.
Oh yeah, and he needs a better deal than that. He needs he wants to become the new Zathira.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's he's I need a better deal than a couple days head start. You got to give me something. I want Zathira's powers. I
just have here is Lane beats Grant up. Lane and a spooky kid girl angel talk. Did this remind you of a movie?
What movie did it remind you of?
Last Temptation of Christ.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. This little girl asks Lane if he's the devil's whore, right?
Again?
Yeah, she's like, "Are you the devil's whore?"
Yeah, you get the feeling that he's met her before and talked to her before. The way she pops up is kind of like, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to this thing again."
She's playing the Harbinger, Jackie R. Jacobson.
She was cute.
She's now appears on a show called Malibu Rescue a lot on Netflix. It looks like.
She was born in 2002. So good news, boys. She's of age.
Yeah, looks like she's on Malibu Rescue.
Okay.
And she was nominated for Best Actress in a Web Series called How to Hack Birth Control just last year.
Whoa, weird. She wasn't on the Pube commercial, was she?
No, that was all cartoon.
Oh.
Maybe she was the voice. Maybe, though it was an animated woman of color.
After Lane talks to
right now, she's completed something called Renegades Ominara.
Fascinating.
Which is directed by Tim Russ, who is in this movie.
Whom
I met. That's right. And she's that movie's written by Frank Zanka.
Whoa. Who's that?
He's one of the writers of Six Gun Savior.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Along with Kirk and Ziff?
Ziff, yeah. And listen to the plot of this movie. When Professor Steiner creates a new technology to link people's minds together for rapid communication and learning, his nefarious ulterior motives become evident. His first subject, a young woman named Omanara, falls prey. Together with her two friends, Shane and Alex, she sets out to stop Steiner while traveling the cosmos in search of allies. A continuing mission to explore new worlds while having a little mischievous fun across the galaxy. Omanara, Shane, and Alex try and stop Professor Steiner as their journey takes them deeper into unknown worlds and further dangers.
Sounds like
Pretty
a
much
good
just
web series.
Sounds like this movie.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is when you're obsessed with an idea. It takes you a few passes to get it right.
It's true. Just ask Michael Mann.
Maybe Kirk is just getting warmed up.
Hey, that reminds me, we're only 6 days from the release of the Heat novel.
Yeah. You going to read it?
Hell yeah.
So it's a sequel to Heat?
Yeah, it's Heat and a prequel, apparently. It's called Heat 2 is the name of it.
Nice.
That's an awesome name for a novel.
I have here in my notes that there's a scene where Cody is in chains because I guess at this point he has been freed from Grant. Because if you remember, Cody teams back up with his brother at the end here. And this is where he and the squaw, Muna, talk. And she explains that she loved him.
On him.
Yeah. And his humanity is fastly fading. It says here that Lane beats up Grant. Lucifer offers Lane. Okay, Lucifer tells Lane that if he stops Zathira, he will make sure Cody's soul is not damned. So this is where we are now. Like,
oh yeah, like after. So it's like he talks to that child angel harbinger chick, and that little girl tells him that God's plan is just to destroy the earth again.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, she tells him that God is gonna like throw the world, is gonna kill everyone on earth or something like that. And he's like, that doesn't sound that good. And she's like, the earth needs this from time to time.
Who are you?
The real question is, who are you? The concerned brother, humanity's savior, or simply the devil's whore? How long do you think it will take before you beg for God's forgiveness? God is ready to grant you redemption.
He didn't lift a finger to help my family when they were being slaughtered. And now you expect me to believe he just wants to grant me forgiveness with nothing in return?
There is something. You must let Zathura succeed.
Are you insane? She'll wipe out the whole damned world.
Yes, the world is damned. The devil has worked very hard to create chaos on Earth, and it is time for a cleansing.
A cleansing? You expect me to just sit back and let Zathira murder everyone?
Your soul will be protected.
I don't know.
This is where your faith must prevail. Time is running against you.
Yeah, what else is new?
Testing offer? Yeah, but I got a better one.
I'll bet you do.
You stop Zathira, and I'll make it worth your while. Come on, look around you. Look how far humanity has come, and you want to send it back to the Stone Ages. I mean, sure, there's going to be anarchy, but there's also beauty, and I'm leaving it all alone. People like Dylan, they'll always exist no matter how many times God starts over. Humans are prone to temptation. It's in their nature.
Right after that, like he leaves talking to her, the devil shows back up and is like, yeah, I'm not going to make any of that stuff happen. That's God's plan, not mine. Here's the deal I'll make you. I'll help your brother not be damned if you do this.
Whoa.
So he goes along with the devil's plan.
Well, I do remember reading something about an all-consuming fire and everything will pass away. But damn, I thought that was years ahead of us, Roy.
We get more information on it later in the movie.
Yeah,
I guess we're still not there. I suppose where Zathira or somebody tells people to leave none alive, kill with mercy. It's like, what?
well, I have here that Cody's in chains, but somehow he breaks free and manages to finally kill Grant, tearing his heart out and sealing his fate. So this makes Cody become fully human again.
But he also means his soul's damned forever.
Yeah.
And like that's what like Lane tells Eric Roberts. He's like, you don't have control of Cody or something like that. You don't own Cody or something. And Eric Roberts is like, well, out.
Okay, well, this is good for me because this proves my theory. I had forgotten. I thought that once
This was
the
a
guy,
great film.
yes, once the guy gets revenge, he doesn't immediately die and go to hell. He's just consigned to hell.
Forfeited, yeah.
Okay, so this does play into my theory that Satan has this nice racket of just reviving guys over and over, and they keep getting revenge on each other. Not the same guys, but it's a chain, because what happens later on, not too long from now, is, well, we'll get to that. You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah, I saw it last night. I was watching Sum of All Fears, and Sven Ole Thorsen was in it.
What's that?
Sum of All Fears.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Clancy.
Is that a Jack Ryan story?
Yes, it is. With what's his face? Is Jack Ryan, Ben Affleck.
Sven Ole Thorsen. Has he been
From
on
such
the
films
Eric
as
Roberts?
Facade.
Oh, yeah. He was the general guy.
Yes.
Schwarzkopf. What was his name in Facade? It was like a goof on Schwarzenegger and Schwarzkopf.
Yeah, I can't remember. Schwartz something.
Yeah.
Schwartz Cove.
Schwarzkopf.
I made that up. The Martin Cove. Do you remember how we talked on one Eric Roberts episode about how there was this Eric Roberts was in this movie called Dante's Hell that hadn't come out yet, that looked all crazy, that you could find like promotional stuff for it on YouTube or something?
Yeah, I wanted to watch it.
It still hasn't come out,
Uh-huh.
but Martin Cove's in it too.
Oh, damn. As a voice?
I guess.
I feel like it was an animated Divine Comedy thing, right?
I believe you were correct.
Yeah, I get a feeling that probably Eric Roberts and Martin Cove are bros. They've probably broed down.
Does seem like they could party or something. Yeah.
Yeah, probably smoke some weed together. So here's something that I don't know if we've ever mentioned on the Esoteric Roberts podcast, is that Eric Roberts was on Celebrity Rehab, the reality show.
That's why. I was thinking, I didn't make a note of this, but I'm glad you brought it up because I would have forgotten. I was thinking this is probably in that same period when he did that.
Really? I thought it was more like early 2000s, mid 2000s.
You might be right. My bad.
But wasn't his thing just weed? Like he just smoked too much weed?
Yeah, maybe so.
I think it was just a grass
Which he
problem.
probably still does.
All right. So back to my notes here. I have Lane has no choice but to track Zathira for Lucifer now that his brother has sealed his fate. The only way to save Cody now is to get to Zathira.
It occurs to me that this movie may have given me COVID because I think I finished my notes on it like the day before I got sick.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's probably been almost 2 weeks since I've seen this movie. And this is really
Me
the
too.
formula for success at the Esoteric Roberts podcast. Is to watch a movie and then wait 2 weeks and then try and recall it based on sloppily assembled notes. Hey, I have here, Roy, that omnism is the recognition and respect of all religions and their gods or lack thereof. I would say this is a very omnistic film.
It disrespects them all.
It's also a very optimistic film. Would you say so?
Yeah, God wants to kill everyone. What are some other movies I was seeing that Martin Cove was in, other than that Dante's Hell? He was in a movie called 3 Tickets to Paradise.
Not 3 Tickets to Paradise.
Do you think that they were going to call it 2 Tickets to Paradise and Eddie Money threatened to sue?
Eddie Money was like, no.
They just changed it to 3 Tickets to Paradise.
You will be hearing from my legal team.
He was in 2. He played like a highway patrolman and a state trooper in 2 different, maybe sequels to each other about space Elvis movies.
Whoa, that's weird. I
Where
wonder what
Elvis
Martin
comes from
Cove's
outer
political beliefs are. Do you think he
I'm
voted
not
for
sure.
Trump?
I don't know.
We know he was born in Brooklyn in 1946.
That's true.
Well, it says here in my notes that we see some Cove in this next scene. All right, so where we left off was Lane. He has no choice but to track Zathira because his brother has become fully human, having completed his revenge on Grant. So Grant's dead. It says here that Cody tore his heart out. I don't really recall that. I guess it happened. Do you remember it?
I don't remember an actual heart or no, I don't. Let's face it.
As they set out to find Zathira, Lane gives Cody a special task, but he doesn't. The audience does not know what that is. But so Cody rides out somewhere else. So we see Zathira raising an army of dead. This is the scene you were thinking of.
Where she gets all those people. They leave all those rifles and those 2 buzzards come, and like one guy's like, what are we going to do with all these rifles? He's like, we could sell them. And then he tickles the other guy. He's like, hee hee hee. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie.
I mostly remember these
Tickle
guys
seed.
literally they're like dead soldiers that are rising up out of graves.
Yes.
And Lane, and it says here that Lane and the mentor show up with Hawk and Muna and Liz. So somehow Martin Cove is here. I don't remember quite how. In the Esoteric Robert's Fading Memory podcast, I have here that I remember this dead general character who's scary, and he ends up stabbing Liz and killing Liz. Remember?
Yeah, Liz gets killed. This was really a shocker.
Liz straight up gets fucking killed, and Lane
Yeah. I
sword
did not
fights
see that coming.
Lane sword fights the undead general and beheads him. And all these zombies have gathered up those guns you were talking about, but it's really not very scary because they don't know how to use them. They're all lurching around like brain dead zombies, and they're not even holding the guns in a scary way. I guess at some point they manage to aim them, but there's never any tension or any kind of fear. I didn't feel
I
any.
think how many extras are in this movie.
This
A
is
lot.
this is where that big posse of Oni hunters show back up. I guess whatever they had to do in purgatory was finished, and they return and they offer support, and they help blast all of these or behead all of these zombies. The whole time Lane keeps trying to get a good shot on Zathira because he's the guy that possesses that bullet. The bullet that was made from Cody's coin melted down. You remember that plot point?
No.
Yeah. Because it's a drop in a fucking sea of plot points, Roy. Yeah, he's trying to get a shot. He can't get a shot. But remember, Hawk is a great sharpshooter. So he throws his gun to Hawk, and Hawk catches the pistol, and he rides up where he has a good aim, and he blasts her right through the head. And so there's this hilarious, like, it's a pretty gnarly head wound that Zathira has, but she's not fully dead. And the whole rest of the movie, you're just distracted by this huge hole, bleeding hole in her head. Pretty hilarious. At this point, Martin Cove bends over Zathira and tries to suck up that sweet energy, but Eric Roberts shows back up.
So
and
Hawk
stops.
kills his own mom in real life, right? The real life
mom or sister. We haven't figured it out.
I'm going to go with mom or aunt at this point. You're pointing out of how old.
I was kind of feeling a
Sif is.
nephew-aunt relationship between them. I kind of felt that energy, that connection. That very well may be it, Roy.
Yeah, it's probably if she's claiming to be his mom in life, he'll probably find out someday she really was just his aunt.
Good call. Good call. Where were we? Martin Cove is sucking up the energy. Eric Roberts says the devil stops him. Cody is set free. Yeah, somehow Cody came back to complete his task, but what was it? I don't remember. Do you? He plays some important role here during this last battle, but I don't have it in my notes, so I don't know what it was. All I know is he was given a special task and he returns at the last second.
Not only was Martin Cove in Karate Kid, he was also in Martial Arts Kid.
Really?
Yes.
What year is that from?
I don't remember now.
Oh my gosh. Well, no matter what happens, Cody is set free, but he's dead. Okay. So he has to go to the afterlife. He's not damned to hell, but he's set free. Zathira, who has the crazy ass head wound, is revived, and Lucifer makes her human and gives her.
Oh
a
yeah,
soul.
that's her thing, is they turns her into a human. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is what she fears the most in life.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be a dirty
She
human.
complains in classic Lorraine Ziff, great acting.
The creepy angel girl comes back.
Yes, this is one of my favorite parts. So like what's his face? Lane
You love creepy parts, Roy. They're
well,
always
this
your
one,
favorite.
just what happens here is that what's his face? Lane, he's really distraught over the grave of Liz and talking to it and says some words over it and stuff and really wishes she was back alive.
Right.
And the angel girl, the harbinger, shows up and I think tells him that his like love and honor and stuff and the way he went about things, like it maybe inspired God not to murder humanity. And
Yeah.
he-
What did the
and
guy
then
say in
she-
Purgatory? He's tough, but he ain't blind.
yeah
Same concept.
Archie Armstrong.
Yeah,
And
something about love in the pentagram
And the prune face.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, and the pentagram disappears from his chest or something, right?
probably.
And maybe, maybe not. He gets to see Liz like in white robes.
This is the true power of the filmmaker here, though,
do
is
you-
that he didn't have to do that. He didn't actually have to show you that and spend the money and time. We just imagine that it happened.
Well, so what happens is,
retrospectively.
right, like this, I want to get to this real fast. You're right. That is the power of cinema. Is that
Shadows can be your cheapest prop.
it's that we see Liz alive and in white robes, and we think that the angel girl and God have resurrected her to reward Lane.
Yeah,
And
that's
let
what
him
I
be-
thought.
But no, Liz just remains dead in reality.
It was all a vision.
Yeah,
I'm glad
so
I wasn't. I'm glad you thought that too, because I was
Yeah,
like,
I
maybe
totally
I'm just
thought they were
not paying
bringing her-
attention yet
me
again.
too. I had to
And the
rewind
not
it a
paying
little.
attention podcast, as I have a reputation for having. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
you
this is
are.
such an
I
easy
do
movie
believe
to
the
like not
audience
pay
is led.
attention.
Yeah, I do believe the audience is being deluded here, believing that she's coming back.
Yeah, you totally think they're gonna bring her back. They don't. They just let her be dead. And his brother's dead.
So now it's just the crew. Now is Lane and Hawk and Muna.
Yeah. And they ride off into the sunset. And sure as they were riding off into the sunset, it seemed like the end of the movie. I knew that it was too good to be true. It was not the real end of the movie.
Yeah.
I knew there's no way in hell.
So what do we see next?
I think we see Grant Dillon and Satan hang out.
Yeah, we see
And that's
Grant.
the real end of
Grant-
the movie.
Well, here's another thing that you thought, Roy. You thought you'd seen The Last Saloon. No, there's yet another saloon. This is probably saloon number 7, I think. And Grant wakes up in this empty saloon, and his eye is mended. He doesn't have a patch anymore. He can
Oh
see
yeah,
with both
yeah.
normal eyes.
No eye patch.
And with both normal eyes, he looks outside of the saloon to see a furious hellstorm in a wasteland. So he's not anywhere normal. And then we see Eric Roberts as the devil, as a bartender. He serves Grant a drink and asks him what his life is worth to him. And that's the end. Do you remember anything else happening?
I remember that Martin Cove was in White Line Fever, which was directed by Jonathan Kaplan, director of the In Cold Blood TV movie.
Did you see the Beetlejuice sandworms in that last
No,
scene?
I missed that.
That'd be a nice touch.
Did you know in this movie there's a guy named William Bradbury Jr. and he plays a character named Bad Brad?
I was looking at that. Yes, I was looking at that earlier.
And Bradbury is not spelled like Bradbury, like Ray Bradbury. It's spelled like Bradbury, like a
You got-
berry.
Burt Beck. You got Burt's Bees. You got Angel Mendez, Bad Brad, Josie Parks.
Salar Gajar as Dylan's henchman number 2.
Tim Russ as Ezekiel Roick,
Yeah.
as Ren Hoek,
Cher Rue as Saloon Girl number 4.
the Sweetwater Kid,
Kathy Hawk as
Dave-
Town and Village Patron.
David McCormick as Briscoe Friday.
Whoa, that's a
Makes me
good
wanna-
one.
Yeah, that makes me want to go eat some brisket.
And watch Brisket County Jr.
Brisket County Jr., my favorite cooking show.
An uncredited Ardashir Radpour as Demon Cowboy.
Did you say Daniel Madrix?
No,
His
that's a
head
good name.
wound patient? Maybe it wasn't a tuberculosis camp, but it seemed like everyone
It was a head
had-
wound camp.
It was people that were sick with various illnesses.
John Brannigan played the general.
So you had
Tom Boring as the bartender at Furnace Creek.
you had a series of cinematographers that worked on this. You had 3 cinematographers credited for Six Gun Savior.
Oh wow.
David Decio, Octay Ortabasi, and
Octave
Brian
Ortabasi.
Weed. I don't want to be I'm not trying to be mean, but do you think Brian Weed was the first one fired?
I
his
think
bad
Brian
habits.
Weed continues to work on this movie to this day.
He still thinks he's working on it.
Who else we got here? We got better credits listing on this than some of these others we've been watching. We've got Desiree Diaz and
Second assistant director Brand Birtwistle.
whoa, yeah, Brand Birtwistle.
That sounds like an old West guy.
Sounds like the kind of guy we would have gone to college with.
Well, that's old Doc Birtwhistle.
Birtwhistle. It's spelled like a weird.
Who chose this movie? Was it me?
You.
Yeah. So you have the next choice.
I'm going to choose Raggedy Man.
Okay. I've noticed you've been cutting out the choosing.
Well, sometimes though it takes a long time for us to debate, and sometimes like we don't end up going with the thing, and I just am like, maybe we'll cut it down for people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I edit it before I'm totally sure of what we're choosing. Like for example, with Purgatory, I edited it pretty quickly after we recorded it. It just seems like it was a long time coming because I took so long in being able to upload it because of poor internet in New Mexico. And so
even the internet had COVID.
Yeah. And when we were debating what movie to do, you said Six Gun Savior, and then you said you weren't sure and would think about it or something. So I think I cut all that because I thought there was still a chance it might change. And I was going to
held out hope that I'd change my mind.
Well, I wasn't sure. Yeah, maybe, because also like I thought you might notice that I didn't want to force another choice on you. And I thought you might notice that Raggedy Man was leaving Criterion Collection at the end of
we better get
July. No, it's already gone, but I've downloaded it.
Oh, it's leaving at the end of July. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
I guess if you want to give away to our listeners that we're recording this after July. I don't like to do that, but whatever.
And
it's your world. I just live in it, Roy.
So I thought there might be a chance you'd see that and be like, let's do Raggedy Man instead.
I feel like this is just bullshitting. I feel like there was an Eric Roberts faith film that was kind of like a Left Behind style movie that was a made for TV kind of thing. Do you have any memory of this? Probably from the late 90s, early 2000s. It was an end times type of thing.
Gosh, now we're into the looking at his IMDb, which just grows longer and longer by the day. Let's see here. God,
well, he's in an end time movie from 2014 called Rumors of Wars. That's not the one I'm thinking of, but it says here that he played the Antichrist in it. Eric Roberts as, let's see what the Antichrist always has a great name in all these movies. Eric Roberts as Zurn, Zurn. Yeah, I'll look it up. I swear he was in some crazy Left Behind ripoff. It wasn't from the Left Behind franchise, but it was in that vein. Here's one called The Mark. This could be the one, Roy. Oh, wow. So this one we have.
What year is that from?
2004. And this one stars.
I like The Mark of the Beast.
Yes. This one stars Stephen Baldwin. So this was after Stephen's Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
6, The Mark Unleashed, in which he plays Dallas.
Yeah.
Nice.
He plays a guy named Dallas, but I don't know. Doesn't say here quite
where he's from.
I don't know what Dallas does in this.
Amy Moon as Jessica.
Wanted to put on the list.
Yeah, for sure. Troy Winbush. Yeah, I could go for some Stephen Baldwin action.
You know who Pastor John Hagee is? Pretty famous pastor. He said of the Mark 6, The Mark Unleashed, he said, power of the gospel to transform the lives of the characters is shown with deeply moving reality. I feel like we should watch it.
Pastor?
Yeah. He's got his own. He's a televangelist.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Pretty cool guy, I guess. Pretty cool life. Well, thanks for coming to our show.
Hopefully I'll still be alive for the next one.
Get well soon, Roy. Let me know when it's my party time.
You've got your party hat.
All right. Well, getting back into it.
As Lucifer's tracker, I've borne witness to the battle between heaven and hell since the dawn of man. Desiring to grow his kingdom, Lucifer decided to offer deals to those who have not yet been judged, returning them to their bodies. They are permitted to take vengeance on the person who wronged them. These earthbound demons are known as Oni. However, once they murder their victims, they revert to human form, and their soul is damned to hell forever, where an angel of death named Zathera remained quite curious of the living. In the West during 1860, an outlaw named Grant Dillon became obsessed with stories of Zathera. His ultimate goal was to make her power his own. He learned of artifacts scattered around the desert that would enable Zathira to possess a human body. They would also give him the ability to control her. One of these runes lay hidden beneath a homestead, but when the family refused to sell, Dylan resorted to other means, leaving their youngest son Cody near death. Dylan set an ambush for the eldest, an ambush that went horribly wrong.
My brother's been shot!
Come on in, Lane.
Lucifer healed McRae, but he was now bound to the devil forever. He pursued Dylan, but the war between the North and the South erupted. Lane was drafted into the Union Army and lost track of Dylan until now.